Good evening everyone and welcome to the first ever SSBB E-Sport broadcast. This is quite exciting because we've been running this series for almost a year now, and this is the first time that we're actually going to be broadcasting, so I'm really stoked. So welcome everyone. We are about to, before we jump into qualifying, we have this is the first season. Essentially the way the series works is there's multiple seasons within a year, and there are various categories, i.e. heats, within each round. So essentially this is the first season for 2021. We are in round 8 already. There's 2 more rounds, this round and then round, we are in round 9. There's 2 more rounds, this round, round 10, and then there's a bit of a break, and then we're going to be heading into season 2 for 2021. So we are hopefully going to be in for some really good racing tonight. The field is super close. So yeah, let's crack on with qualifying. So I'm just going to let the guys know that we're going to be starting pretty soon. So the format is we are going to qualify for 10 minutes and then jump straight into a 10-lap race. We are racing with these Toyota Crowns. They are highly modified. They've got about 500 horsepower. They have no driver aids, and they're pretty wild. Suspension tuning is on, but you're limited to the stock gearbox, so it's pretty wild. It's going to make for some really good racing. I love it. So let's just let the guys know we're going to be starting now. Alrighty, so let's see how we crack on with this. I'm going to start off, have a quick gander at Alex Walmart. Let's turn off all the options here. Now, as I said, these cars are extremely hard to drive. That is by design, because the whole idea with the series this year is really to get the drivers accustomed to driving really difficult cars quickly, and build the skill from them. That's the whole kind of the idea behind the SSBB Championship. So it seems to have worked. In practice, the guys are super close on time sheets, so it's going to be really interesting to see. And around a short circuit like this, I think we're going to be in for some mega racing. Some of the liveries we have are stunning. I see the guys are pushing. Donut, McFlurry, all of the usual suspects. Alright, let's see what times the guys start putting down. Alex already bangs in a 57.7, that's quick man. 57.8 for Jedi, 58 dead for Golfnut. Boys are flying already. That's a good time by Alex. He's always just so quick and so consistent. Jedi also proving he's really fast around here. Manages to get the car really stopped and picked up around there. Sit and do a lap with him. Quali lap. The problem with these cars is that if you trail brake them too much, they rotate on entry. But you need to trail brake it just a bit just to get the nose turned in, because it's very heavy beast. Okay, he seems to have lost out a bit there. Alright, let's try to find someone else. Golfnut, MB, Slung. It's another one of our South African friends. He's raced with us quite a lot in the past. He's missed out a few races because of work, but I see he's back and it's amazing to have him back. Thank you for joining us, Slung. McFlurry is always a sharp contender, always up there. He won a lot last year, and he's off as well. Try to catch up with Brian Reed. Brian Reed is also super fast. Very good driver. Exceptional. When he's on form, he's almost unstoppable. Yeah, he's really good. He does really well to get under your skin. Puts you under a lot of pressure, so exceptional driver. So as I was saying about these cars, you have to kind of trail brake the nose in. But if you do, it rotates on entry. And because they have so much power, you get on the power too early, it rotates as well. So it's really a fine balance of trying to just negotiate this beast around the circuit. I see Brian's 12, never really up there, that high up the ladder, so must be battling a bit with the circuit. Maybe just couldn't get a clean lap in. Let's see, what are the times like? Alex 57.6, Jedi on a 57.8, Demicune 58 dead, Golfy 58.1, Ian B, wow, that's still a performance by Ian 58.2, Slung is on a 58.3, well done Slung. McFlurry up there 58.3 as well, so close, 58.3 as well by Davide. Coyote Venture 58.4, Brian 58.5, Syed 58.8, Addis 58.3. So apologies, Addis 59.3. Southwest is 1 minute. Getting a big slide on. That's the thing with these cars, they're just so difficult to drive. It's so easy to get sideways. Which obviously makes difficult racing. Well, makes for really good racing, but as I said, they're not the easiest things to drive. Alex is just an absolute master in this thing. Let's take a quick lap with him. Just so good on the brakes and the way in. Gets power on smooth. Lovely. Right, Jedi joining the party here, but backs out of it. Very good job. Beautiful, just had a little bit of rotation on the way in. Manages to power on the way out, maximizes the exit. Really lining it up beautifully. Getting it stopped, and just enough slide, a bit too much there, but not bad. Gets a perfect amount of turn, clips the apex, beautiful rotation on the exit. Same, not too much slide, you've got to have a little bit, but not too much, and then getting the thing stopped, yeah, it's always the problem. So let's see Captain McFlurry. Also really quick driver on his day, so let's just see down the back straight. It looks like he's alone. So easy to rotate these, over-rotated on the brakes. So easy to get on the car and rotate it. So hard. Let's see if we can get it stopped. Yes, he gets it stopped nicely. Pulls it up, beautiful. Gets on the car, feeds it nicely. That's the trick, really getting these things stopped is so difficult because the brakes are also terrible, and it makes for such good racing. Perfect. Lovely, just the right amount. It's always difficult. Beautiful slide on the exit there. Also backs out of it. Okay. So the boys are starting to find their limits of it. I see Alex is back on the track. Let's see if we can jump on him again. .57.6 by Jedi. That is a good time by Jedi. That puts him pole. Wow, 57.64, 57.65, 57.7. Unreal, unreal. That is a freaking stellar time. I'm actually glad I'm not racing. I'd be lost. Unbelievable. Right, 58.3. Just the understeer, man. Understeer, just off the line. Or just a bit too much entry. 57.4. My goodness. 57.4 by Alex. So if your 57.64 wasn't good enough, Alex just puts in a 57.4. Unreal. Unreal. So the times are super close. Alex on a 57.4, Jedi on a 57.64, McFlurry on a 57.7, Golf Nut on a 57.8, Death Raccoon 58 dead, etc. So it's Jedi just putting in an absolutely stellar performance this weekend. Battled a bit in previous races, but man, is he coming alive at this track. Ian B, 58.2, brilliant job. Brilliant job. So that looks like that is that for qualifying. So I'm capturing points here, results at the same time. So we're going to jump straight into the race from here, and oh man, is it going to get spicy. Negotiating these absolute beasts around this circuit, and we've got pretty much a full house in the lobby tonight. So we have, well, there are 14 entrants. I'm one of them, so there's 13 cars. It's going to be mega. Alex put it on pole. Well done, Alex. So yeah, great performance by everybody. Well done. Just a bit of a loss for words. Golf Nut also super fast. Man, he has come such a long way, and watch out for him in the second race, because in those front wheel drive cars, Golf Nut has just found a way to pedal that abath no one else can. And yeah, truly inspired by such, just the way he's come on. It's really great to see. Definitely also great to have these guys join us. And those are the final results for qualifying. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. Whew, man, I am pumped. It's one thing racing, but when you watch it, wow. Alright, let's see how this goes. So who are we sitting with? Let's sit with Alex. Let's watch the mayhem unfold. Here we go. We are off. Alex gets a great start. Jedi saying, oh, Jedi sends it up the inside. Oh, bit of rubbing there, but nothing too major. It's great. Looks like everybody negotiated well through there. Oh, McFlurry putting it on the grass. Alex going very defensive, but McFlurry sends it up the inside of Jedi. Jedi has the inside though for the next corner. Runs it a bit wide. Oh, Alex gets a big slide on. Oh, he's pushing really hard to try and open the gap. Jedi needs to stay with him so he doesn't get away and pile on the pressure, because if he does, it's over. But Jedi is under a lot of pressure from McFlurry right now. Just kind of sending it away. He's just so good. It's like clockwork when he gets in his rhythm. And that's the thing, you can't let him get in his rhythm. You have to keep on the pressure. Jedi goes very defensive. Very defensive, a bit loose on the brakes there, but just to keep it together. I'm amazed we've made it through this far. So currently we're Alex first, Jedi second, McFlurry third, Golf Lab fourth, Lee fifth, Brian sixth. What a stream of cars, beautiful shot here coming into this hairpin. Oh, Jedi closed the gap, man oh man. He's got to keep Alex under pressure, he just cannot let him get away. Has to stay on the slip. And he's doing a great job to hang on there. Alex is so good. It's like a surgeon. But Jedi just keeping the pressure on, sends it a bit up the inside. Alex has to defend there. Oh, Golfy gets it a bit loose. But looks like we've got something going on here with Alex and Jedi. Jedi's putting the pressure on, and that's what he needs to do, man. He can't let Alex get away. He has to keep that pressure. Also defend. The best way to do that is just send the lap times. It's obviously so hard when you've got someone like that breathing down your neck. So he just has to stay within that slip, not let Alex get away. Alex runs it a bit deeper. Oh, Jedi sends it up to the inside, and he's got the line. So now what he has to do is he has to just squeeze Alex over to try and get a bit more racing line. And then defend the line. McFlurry sends it up the inside. Wow! Brilliant move by McFlurry. That was brilliant. Typical racing, not a typical racing move, but really good. To see the opportunity and take it cleanly without an incident is really awesome. So Jedi needs to put his head down now and focus on qualifying lap times. Try and get McFlurry out of your slip and just do the job. And that's the only way you're going to get away. But stellar job there. The boy's getting it a bit loose on the exit there. McFlurry's also doing a great job to stay with Jedi. Jedi just seems so dialed in around here. Alex getting it a bit loose as well. Brilliant stuff. It's hard to stay on top of all of this. McFlurry kind of staying with Jedi. Jedi's just in another league here, man. So good. It's just nailing it lap after lap. And he seems to have a bit of a different line. Goes a bit narrow on the brakes, but then manages to get a good exit. Not there, slides it a bit. yeah, like I was saying, he needs to just put his head down and do those qualifying laps. McFlurry runs it a bit deep. Whoa, that's going to give Jedi the exit. Beautiful. Let's see how things are going a bit further down the order. With Golf Nut and Brian. Brian is such a sharp contender. Just battling a bit here around the circuit, but him and Golf Nut should be able to. Oh, big slide there by Brian. Should be able to have a great dive. So Brian going a bit deep, but pulling it up nicely and closing their gap. That's the thing, Brian is so good on the brakes, man. If there was anyone that is the last of the late breakers, it is Brian. That is Mr. PRD3. What a legend. Golf Nut, also unbelievable drive from that man. The thing is, with some of these drivers like Brian, Alex, myself, we've got a motorsport background, but someone like Golf Nut, he's never been involved in motorsport ever. He's raced with us last year online, and that's it. And he's just taken to it like a duck to water, so he's doing so well. That's why I cannot praise his efforts enough. Oh, it looks like there's some action up front. Jedi and McFlurry getting into it. Oh, McFlurry sent it up the inside. And he managed to get past Jedi. He's got to put his head down now to try and get away from the pack. Otherwise, it is over. And this is really what we want to see up front. We cannot have someone dominate. And oh, Jedi setting it up the inside. What a move. A bit naughty. Bit of hip and shoulder there, but he loses out on the exit. Oh no! So now McFlurry and Alex are past him, and now McFlurry's under the pump. Alex is piling on the pressure. That's the problem with these cars. They are so hard to drive quickly, and it just takes a monumental effort. And defending around here for 10 laps would not be my first choice. So while these three are having the scrap, Golfy and Brian are busy catching them. That is what we need. Last lap, 7 cars going for it. Woo, man, I can hardly freaking breathe. So McFlurry, Alex, Jedi unfortunately just seems to have lost out a bit. Alex needs to put his head down, pile on the pressure. Jedi needs to try to tuck into that slip and just close the gap. Every single mistake you make. Oh, Brian getting a bit loose on the brakes. Running it a bit deep there. Let's see what's happening further back there. It's so hard. It's such a short course, so hard to stay on top. Ian also doing an amazing job here. Slung also hanging in there. Davide battling a bit this track. Ian bouncing it off the curb. Spectacular. Yeah, just amazing. Davide, Defra crew. Don't know where Adders is. Let's have a look at these two. They're still fighting it out. Alex. Oh, McFlurry seems to have pulled the gap. 2 more laps to go. So now Jedi's piling on the pressure. Jedi just tuck into his slipstream, brother. Make it happen. That is not easy, I'll tell you. Oh, Jedi sends it really deep, no contact. He saw the opportunity. Really excellent move. It didn't look like there was contact. It might have been, but that is an exceptional move. He leaves the door open and Alex returns the favor. Thank you for coming, brother. I'll take that all day long. Brilliant stuff. That's what we want, man. And while these three are busy freaking going hammer and tongs, Golfy's busy saying, hey, I'd like a piece of that. You guys carry on the wall. There's a bit of push and shove there. Not, but yeah, it's getting a bit heated. We're going into the last lap. What could possibly go wrong? I don't know, but it is about as hot as it could be. So, at the moment we've got McFlurry, Alex, Jedi, Golfy, Brian. These 5 just pulled away. Jedi looking for that position. Alex just keeping it nice and tidy, making it very difficult for Jedi. Let's see where if we can put the move on. Oh, Alex runs it deep. Jedi says thank you. Thank you, but Alex manages to hang around the outside. Alex defends really, really good. Let's see, what does Jedi have? He's sliding it, pushing so hard. Oh, he's got to get it really, really settled. Turned around here, feeding the power. He's got to get him. He's got to get a really, really good drive. Oh, they're already on the back straight, going now to the last corner. Oh, no, sorry, apologies. Yes, they are. Going through the last corner, so it's McFlurry that's going to take it. Alex Wilmot second, Jedi third, Golfy fourth, Brian fifth, Ian sixth. Death Raccoon seventh. Sorry, Slung seventh. Davida eighth, Death Raccoon ninth, KRT Venture 10th, Adders 11th. Cyclones 12th, Saphalicious 13th. What an absolutely stellar race. Well done to everybody. That was an amazing race. I don't know if you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, but it is just so good to watch these boys go at it. So, what is up next? Well, we're going to have a bit of a break. Yeah, there's confirmation of your final results. So, we're going to have about a 10-minute practice session in the next part, which will be a front-wheel drive category. So, that is amazing. Just say well done to everybody. That was freaking amazing. Wow. What do I say to these guys? Thanks for the clean race. Brilliant job. Alright, let's get straight into the next event settings. So, what I do is I've got these puppies all saved, and we're going to load them up. Now, for this race, we're going to make it only 4 laps, because that was quite a long race, and we've got quite a long feature race coming up after this. So, this one is going to be a front-wheel drive category. These are pretty much stock cars, and the way we set them up, they run on hard tires. It's an N200 with the balance of performance on, and I am sweating, man. Let's get into it. This is going to be short and sweet. These cars are the exact opposite of the Crown. They're slow, they're frustrating, and also extremely hard to drive. So let's see what these boys can do. Now, what I do with this setup now, in terms of the starting grid, is we run it reverse order according to the points, and that was a suggestion by one of our competitors. I forget who, but thank you very much. That was a brilliant idea. So at the moment, we're going to set the starting grid. So let's do that. I have to wait till everyone joins though. But epic racing, man, epic racing. I haven't been able to check the comments. I'm still trying to figure it out. Thank you everyone who's joining, and yeah, I'll have to figure out how to do all that. Bear with us for 2 minutes. guys, sorry, we're back. Just waiting for the guys to enter so I can set the grid order. Right, that looks about right. Alrighty, so John will be starting on pole. Where is John? Let's see. That is John is slung. So he will be on pole. Then we have Adders starting second. Then we have Cytrons. Where is Cytrons? Then we have Ian. Ian will be starting fourth. Then we have Dens. Dens will be starting after Ian, that's right. Then we have Saphalicious. He is not a South African. That's a bit confusing. Then we have Davide. Where is Davide? Why do I not see Davide? Davide, why do I not see you, brother? Okay, let's move on. Then we have Jedi. Jedi is after Saphalicious. Then we have Jason, stop racing. Golf Nut. Golf Nuts will be after Jedi. Then we have Death Raccoon, he's there. Then we will have Alex Wilmot, he's there. Then Venture 26. Then we will have McFlurry after Venture 26, and then Brian. That's it. So that will be your starting grid order. Now I have to capture the points for that last race, so bear with me. Alright, we have the points. Save the replay for incident reports later. Let's watch some racing. No one's off track. Yeah, Golf is. And he's quickest. As I was saying, this man just continues to impress me. He's just so good in this car. And the problem is these cars, they stock in the power. We run the balance of performance with them, but they have open differentials. It's a turbo car, stock suspension. It is so hard to drive because they pitch and roll so much on the brakes and in the corners. So the weight transfer is so extreme. You have to run the brake bias with almost zero on the back just to stop the thing locking up, and then wheel spins everywhere. So again, it's really hard to drive these cars quickly. But what it does do is it makes for exceptional racing because they're quite slow. The braking zones are very long, and it's a bit tricky though with the balance of performance because it doesn't exactly line the cars up. So these two were kind of work. The round here, I think the Bath might have a bit of an advantage because they seem to handle a bit better. But on the longer circuits, the Mito kind of has an advantage. So the field is kind of 50-50 almost with these two manufacturers. So seems to be quite good. So there again is Brian, is second, also very quick. Once he gets his confidence up, he seems to be battling at the circuit. I know he's also had a tough week. It's not that easy to come back, especially when you're tired. Sit and crush out lap times like an absolute champ. McFlurry third. Also, saw he won the first race. He's a bit of a dark horse because you never really know. He's really good, he's really up there, and he just manages to do the right things to get himself in the right position. So, really fierce competitor. Let's just check how we're doing on time here. So I reckon we're going to start. Let's let these boys know. Raccoon also seems to be battling just a little bit. So just check the starting grid once again, just to make sure. Davide, he was the one I was missing, so we need to just make sure Davide, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 needs to be essentially behind Saphalicious. Between Saphalicious and Jedi. Here we go. Alright, so Brian is last. That's right, Brian is leading the championship. Righty, so there's your starting grid order. Slung first, Addis second, Cytrons third, Ian fourth. Ian is potentially the dark horse in this race. He is just come leaps and bounds as of late. Den's fifth, Saphalicious sixth. I'm getting those numbers wrong. Now, or am I? I don't know. Davide seventh, Jedi eighth, Goldnut ninth, Death Raccoon 10th, Alex 11th, Venture 12th, McFlurry 13th, Brian 14th. Let's get it on. McFlurry, getting a good eyeball full. Right, boys. Let's get it on. Alrighty, so this will be quite short and sweet. After this, we're going to have about a 15-minute break, and then we're going to jump into the feature race, which is a cracker. It's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, and that's why this race is short. So let's see what these boys can do. It's going to be short, but it is going to be manic.
I'm rocking.
I kind of feel for the guys in front, so let's just see what happens here. 10 to 1, it is going to be absolute chaos. So, who are we sitting with? We are with Slung at the moment. Cytron's getting an absolutely stellar start. Brilliant defending into the corner and just negotiating his way around. Let's see what Ian, I think Ian was going to be the Derrickers. Whoa, a bit of bumpers, pushing and shoving there. It's always going to be tough round here. Slung doing so well to defend against Sai. Ian doing well as well. Sai pushing, trying to get past Slung because he knows the mayhem is coming. It's happening further up the field. Let's see. There's Davide. Alex Wilmot already through the pack. He is just so good. Alex is game under. And those liveries he puts out is just unbelievable right now. He's getting his teeth stuck into the to try and get through the pack. Because he knows there's only 4 laps here. Make it happen cleanly because the rules are very specific on passing and moves and how you place your car, pillar rule. It's really, really tough. Incidents are applied. I can't even speak, man. Look what's happening behind him. Jedi's defending against Brian, who's always so difficult to race with because he just puts you under so much pressure. Get back to is battling with McFlurry. It's hard to know where to look. Golfnut is there, but he's also battling a bit. He's got Venture behind him. Remember, these boys have started in the back. Slung is still doing an exceptional job, man, keeping Sai behind him. He really has to push to keep that little Abath placed in the right place to win this race because he can do it. He is a good driver. Who's there? Davide trying to send one up the inside, keeping the racing close. Alex defending against Ian. Ian, the dark horse, you can never count Ian out, and he's not scared to put one up the inside. And there he does on Alex. Brilliant job, Ian. Oh, Brian trying the center send, just getting it up really squarely on the brakes. And oh, what a beautiful shot. What a beautiful shot coming through there. It looks like it's all very much the same. So we've got Brian here in 7th, Jedi in 8th. Brian is currently leading the championship. You see Alex managed to get past Ian. Alex is on the hunt for 3rd now. Sai, who has a side chance, has a penalty. It looks like he's shaking it off. He's got Davide. Alright, Alex has managed to get up alongside Sai. So now he's hunting Davide down. They're going on to the last lap. So now Slung just needs to put his head down, pump in a qualifying lap, and just win this sucker. He hasn't raced with us for a long time. He's back, and he's back with a vengeance. It's so good to see him here. Davide puts it a bit up the inside, but doesn't really risk it too much. But managed to get an excellent exit. Bit of hip and shoulder. Oh, Davide loses out a bit there. Unfortunate. Slung gets it a bit loose on the exit, and now now Slung has to deal with Alex, which is not easy. So all Slung has to do now is basically put that car in all the wrong places and make Alex's life extremely difficult. Alex sends it up the inside, and Alex makes the pass. Now it's up to Davide. Can Davide try and send it up the inside and take this win from Alex? Let's see, Alex, pure perfection through the final corner, and I don't think that anybody's got an answer for him. Excellent job by Alex. Davide 2nd, Slung 3rd, Brian 4th, Sai 5th, and the rest of them come streaming through. So really good racing there. Alex did an amazing job coming through the field. Once again, like clockwork for him. Just an absolute operator. Really well done. So that was a great race, man. But short and sweet. But it had to be, unfortunately, because the next one is quite a long feature race, so I don't know what's happening there. Yeah, a bit of backwards and forwards, but yes, really, really good racing. And it looked really clean. It looked really clean. The guys seem to be cleaning up their driving really well. So amazing to see. So we're going to take a bit of a break while I capture results and get everything ready for the feature race. Stay with us. Alright, I've managed to capture all the results. I'm just going to let these guys know. The room will open in 5. Sorry, the next track. And then we'll have 10-minute practice. Who was quickest in that last race? KLT Venture, he was quickest, 106.07. So the way the points work, let me just capture that. Where is Venture 26? So the way the points work is effectively, let me just find it. So for categories 1 and so there's 3 categories this season. Category 1 was the Toyota Crowns. Category 2 was the front wheel drives. and Category 3 is an endurance race. Those are with that endurance race is with the Group 4 cars, and it's mixed manufacturer. V8 front wheel drives, normally aspirated. That's kind of what we went for because they're all very similar. Points for Category 1 and Category 2, you get a point for qualifying, a point for fastest lap, and then points are awarded from 1st place to 10th place, and they start, P1 is 10, P2 is 9, etc., all the way down to 10th place is 1 point. Now that's the same for Category 1 and Category 2. Now for Category 3, the endurance race, it's double points. So it's super important you have a good race in the feature race, and the thing is it's difficult because it's a completely different strategy, and in the feature race we have tires and fuel that count, so it's not an easy thing to do. Now I've saved the settings for the feature race. It's going to be 20 laps. There's specific rules in our regs which are published on our Discord. They effectively say that if there is a feature race, which is, let me just find it, put out of breath from all of that. Anyhow, so if the endurance race is 40 laps or longer, there are 4 mandatory pit stops for fuel and tires. 2 of those pit stops have to have a stop duration no less than 5 minutes. That means the drivers get a bit of time to kind of relax and settle down. Now, a 40 lap race is a really long race. It's a bit difficult to do when you've got 3 categories running, so we haven't done one this season. It's unlikely we'll do one. We might. The nice thing is we've set kind of the base tracks for Category 1 and 2, but Category 3, the circuit is unknown. The number of laps are unknown. The tire wear and fuel is unknown, which is there to balance the performance of the drivers, because not everyone has the time to practice. So it's really to kind of level the playing field. If the endurance race is less than 40 laps, then there are 2 mandatory stops for both tires and fuel. Now, each race is different and it varies. The tire and fuel wear varies based on what I call the randomizer, but it's effectively a game to keep the playing field open for everyone and kind of keep it as fair as we can for everyone. So you really have to be careful with how you approach your strategy, because going into the endurance race, you could have a very high fuel consumption. Then you have to really watch your fuel usage and then fuel save, or you could have a really high tire consumption with the low fuel consumption, or you could have both. So the strategy has to really depend on that. You might have really low fuel consumption or whatever the case may be, but you need to make sure that when you come into the pits, there is a specific clause in the rules that states that when you refuel, your fuel counter needs to change by at least 1 unit to satisfy the rule. So in other words, when you come into pit, you need to at least have put enough fuel in that it shows 1 liter change, which makes it rather interesting. If you're interested, we will contact us, post in the comments. We'll get you hooked up on our Discord. So let's get these boys onto the new circuit. Now I don't want to dilly-dally, I've got it saved. Let's go. What is it going to be? Oh yes! Oh yes! Spa-Francorchamps. And yes, it's in the rain. 20 laps in the rain, tire wear 5, fuel depletion 10. Minutes practice. We're going to be, it's 11 o'clock South African time, which means it is 9 o'clock British time. You'll see that there's one Saudi Arabian with us. He's actually not actually in Saudi Arabia, he is in the UK, so it is 9 o'clock there for them. I see the guys loving it. Love you too, Safa. He's a Safa and he's not even South African. Amazing. So yes, we have an endurance race in the rain, and only hard tires, only hards only. Let's say no wets, no wets. Let's just make sure. That's it, eh? Racing medium. Let's see. Now the last time we raced in the rain was around the Red Bull Ring. It was absolutely phenomenal. It provided such good racing for us, and I think the same is going to apply here. It is not easy, but it is a big level up. So let's see, man. I'm super pumped. The Corvette does have, I see Alex is in the Corvette. It has inherent understeer, but he manages to pedal this thing around. And understeer could be a good thing in the rain. I don't know. I don't like the Corvette. He seems to like it. I rode the Jag. McFlurry's in the Aston. Also delivers some great liveries. McFlurry is really one to look out for. As usual, as you know. Jedi. What is Jedi? Jedi is in the Jag. I also chose the Jag. Davide's in the Mustang. I'm a firm lover of the Mustang. Oh, Jedi's going off. This is going to be a tough race. 20 laps around here in the rain, and it's going to be long. Strategy is going to play a key role here. Oh, Death Raccoon having a big moment there. Brian taking it through. Brian in the Lexus, one of the lone Lexus runners. He seems to also pedal that thing around like nobody's business. An absolute legend. We love him. Let's just have a look inside them. Kind of looks like oil slick. Oh, understeer city. Can't be nice. What a stunning motor vehicle. That's the thing. Kind of have to trail brake, get those tires hot. It will be almost zero tire wear, so it's really just going to be about. But you have to change tires. It has to be a minimum 2 pit stops. So it really depends on when the guys come in. They have to also gauge the fuel consumption. So, oh, Brian just getting a boost there. Golf Nut in the Mercedes. Now the Mercedes in the Group 4s has proven to be not the best package, and he's really battled in the Group 4s this season. It's a bit unfortunate because he's come such a long way as a driver, but in the rain it's going to be a completely different story. He might be up there, which we really are hoping. He's such a skilled, talented sports person, and I believe that he's going to go a long way in his sim racing career. So I don't think the guys have done a time yet. Let's see, who else is out there? KLT Venture also in the Mustang. Up the Jag. The Jag is also an amazing car. It just handles so nicely. When you're on the remote, it seems to, I found it to chew up the front tires quite a bit, but that's just me. Den's also in the Jag. The Jag is, again, like I say, just turns in so nicely. Great rotation on the power. Simon in the Corvette, and Ian also in the Lexus. One of the few Lone Rangers in the Lexus. Who else do we have? Death Raccoon, also in the Lexus. Slung back in his Aston. Lovely sounding Aston. Slung had an amazing run in that front wheel drive Abarth. Let's hope we can keep it together. It's not easy to drive these things around here. It's going to be a real test of character. And he who keeps it on the track 10-1 will do well. Addis has also come a long way. Addis is a school teacher out of England, somewhere in England. Addis, forgive me for not knowing where. He's also come a long way. He also has absolutely zero motorsport history. He's just loving racing with us, and we really enjoy having him. It's been a tough learning curve for a lot of the drivers this year because like I was explaining earlier about the Toyota Crown, it's just really an absolute beast to drive. And then you go from that to the extreme opposite, which is the front wheel drive. Understeer, oversteer, underpowered, painful thing, and so it really does test your driving skill. But in doing so, you learn so much. So, definitely getting a bit locked up there. It's hard to drive these cars around here, but again, this year has really been about testing the skill of the driver. Beautiful slides. Side France also battling a bit early this year, but also having a lot of fun. And he's always really jovious on the chat and loves to get stuck in with the guys. Ian, also couldn't say enough about Ian's driving. He's come a long way. We've had some great races with him in the past. Also very smooth driver, and manages to place the car in the right places when he needs to. Good turn of speed as well, good car control. So I will say, exceptional car control. He's battled a bit with consistency, and he's battled a bit with the cars, but he's come a long way. Yeah, Den's in the Jag, also quite consistent midfielder. Den's is currently lying about the overall points. Although I haven't sorted it yet. Bear with me. That takes into account the 11th in the points. Brian Reed's still leading the championship. The other thing I forgot to mention about the championship is that there's one drop race. So there are 12 races, 12 rounds, and we drop one. So the way that works is your worst scoring round, i.e. the round at which you have the worst result, you lose that round. And the reason that round, the points for that round get excluded from your overall points after the season is complete. The reason we do that is to allow drivers to have a bad event, or maybe something happens and they're not able to attend an event. It just kind of gives you a bit of a cushion going into the final points. However, you have to be careful, because if you're not able to make an event, then you really have to try and make up for your points, your overall points for the rest of the season. So you have to just be really wary of that. So some drivers have already missed a few races. I know Alex, I think they've missed 2 events already. Alex is sitting 3rd overall in the championship, so he really will not drop any more points. Points he has. Same with McFlurry. McFlurry's second. He is 21 points behind Brian. So Brian did miss an event, I believe. I'm not sure it's possible. Anyway, I'll run the numbers at the end. You'll see, but it is close. We're talking Brian on 222, McFlurry on 201, Alex on 199, Venture on 182, Death Raccoon on 180, Golf Nuts on 161. It is close. Nobody had having a bit of a moment. Den's also farming. Let's see who's currently first. Obviously it's Alex. The smooth operator. That clock is first. Now it's also important to note that these guys are not professional sim racers. They do not, oh beautiful slide. They do not sit there hours on end pumping in the laps, generating YouTube videos. We're doing it for the fun of it. And some of the guys do obviously stream, and that's not a knock on anybody that pumps out YouTube videos. This is obviously a YouTube video, so not at all. The whole point of this is really to have fun and get people learning about racing. There is a lot more to come in terms of what SSBB is really about, but once the website is up, we're going to publish a lot of our info there. Basically what SSBB is all about, what our plan and goals are for the future, our method statements, all of that. But right now it's all about the racing. So who's first? Death Raccoon. What an absolute legend. He seems to be quicker than Brian. Alexis also sitting with him. Now Alexis has proven to be a really quick machine at fast circuits, so really hooking it up here, man. It's good to see. What are the farms looking like? Let's have a look. 2 minutes 50 lap times. Mine doing 20 laps. Whew! Gonna be a while. Let me just check on the time. We're actually running by, so we are going to start right now, boys. Let these guys know. I'm going to say like pretty much 2 minutes. Give them a bit of heads up. Definitely really got himself dialed into that car. It's just one with this machine at the moment. Got Brian behind him. Now Brian is an absolute expert at putting you under massive amounts of pressure and forcing you into a mistake. He's a racer's racer. He just has that absolute dog-fighting instinct, and he's an exceptional driver as well. Brian and myself actually raced. Very rare mistake there. Brian and myself raced modified 50cc endurance bikes many years ago. He's also gone on to race cars in real life. He actually has get some tank slapper. He has a Polo Renault Clio, which he is planning to race pretty soon. So he's got a lot of real life experience. He's an exceptionally good driver, and he's got that killer instinct. And when he's got you in his sights, you do not want to be there. Right, so let's get it on. Now I'm going to run this in reverse grid based on the previous race results. I could do that, which I think I'm going to. Alrighty everyone, good luck. Just let the guys know, please enter. Starting now. Alright, so we are in for 20 laps of this. Let me get my water ready. How is Alex on pole? That's nuts.
I'm rocking.
Ah, did I click it right? I think I made a mistake. Oh well. Let's do it. It's a tough start. Oh, James gets a terrible start. He gets it crossed up. Alex also gets a terrible start. Davide, beautiful start by him. Brian goes wide. Ian goes wide. Everyone's going wide on the exit. Davide, beautiful. Gets the whole shot. Really sending it through. Yeah, really, obviously it's not flat to lose now, but just kind of nursing it to try and keep this puppy going in a straight line. Now, Alex already piling on the pressure. He obviously didn't get the memo that it's a 20-lap race, but Alex also has that fighting instinct. He will not back down. This comes from a racing family, many years of experience in that family. So. Oh, side, sending it sideways, everybody collecting side. Alex really, let's just see what's happening there. Nettrack in third, Slime fourth, Brian sixth, Golfnut seventh, Venture seventh, sorry. Slime going wide, oh, what's happening for everybody. So Ian has also gone wide. McFlurry getting it crossed up. McFlurry also getting it crossed up. Slung really battling under the pressure. So sitting at 8 at the moment. McFlurry 7. Ian doing so well. He's such a good competitor. Also came on leaps and bounds. Also doesn't have no McFlurry does. South African, based in Port Elizabeth. Also, we have been involved in motorsport. Whoa! He went off there. Slung, also just battling with the conditions at the moment. He had a great start, but just battled to get the thing turned. So many corners, and really this is going to be a race of attrition. Whoever keeps it there will do well. Ian looking for an opportunity on Slung game back to John. John, pronounce it, Juan Pablo Montoya. So Ian really getting past Slung. Slung is just battling in these conditions. It's unfortunate. Oh! Did I? All crossed up there. Oh, Ian also getting it crossed up. And turning Golf Nut around. I don't know who to look at. Slung going really deep on the brakes there. Lovely doing well there. Rising third. Lovely had cold. Ryan McFlurry with that they're setting up there a magnificent battle. These two are also great competitors. Bit of a rivalry going on here, and that's exactly what we need. What the sport needs. They're both extremely competitive drivers, extremely competent drivers, and love to just kind of get it on, mix it up in the circuit. So love to see it happen. Their Raccoon 7 seconds up the road. It's really through the gap. Hopefully he's close to Alex. Let's have a look at the gap. So there's Raccoon only 1.5 seconds away from Alex. Could be hunting Alex down potentially. So we could. Oh, there is definitely something going to happen here soon. Let's keep our eyes on this now. Alex is such a seasoned contender. He will not let Death Raccoon have it very easily. There's Brian Reed and McFlurry having their little tussle. Oh, Brian getting it loosened. Who's that golfer? Adventure 26. Also, really good driver. He's been involved in quite a few incidents, but he's come a long way in terms of figuring out the rules of the series. And the series is very, very strict on incidents, and it's also getting a bit sideways. It's really something, it's quite a trick to learning to stay within the rules, because the CRC doesn't tolerate a lot of incidents. Very, like I said earlier, there's very, very specific rules on how to pass and where to pass, and taking each other out. So, but everyone's learning. Flurry also just staying on the line. It's so important he doesn't let him get away, because if he does, it's over. Now, how close? Oh, Death Raccoon just loses it. No, he was chasing Alex down and just unfortunately lost it. Oh, very, very unfortunate. Like getting in between McFlurry and Brian, that's really, really helped out Brian here. McFlurry kind of was hunting down Brian. Now this is just really giving it to Alex, but it is a long, long race. Who knows what will happen? What kind of times are these boys doing? 51, so they're not doing qualifying times. Surprised Brian changed his helmet. He used to have a Japanese flag on his helmet, and he used to have a bit of a send reputation. And it's not because he would send people to the nether realm. It's just because it was a bit of an inside joke. Death Raccoon putting a lot of pressure on Brian. They need to try and close the gap. And Alex, oh, both of them running it wide. That just allows McFlurry to close the gap, and it's exactly what he does. Thank you, guys. I will take that second place. Now, can McFlurry put it? These guys really need to put their head down and chase down Alex. Doesn't help you squabble. It's a very, very long race. This man is just going to run away with it if we don't work together. So now the next question is, when are these boys going to come in? It'll be interesting to see what their fuel loads are like. Alex on half a tank at the moment. McFlurry also around half a tank. Now they could be fuel saving, I'm not sure. Tires absolutely no looks like the Lexus. Oh, Brian is under half, so Brian has been using quite a bit of fuel. McFlurry put in the quickest lap there. Now, in this race, fastest lap don't count. So, how we're looking down the order. Death Raccoon, 4th. After such a great performance, looks like he spun out again. Chaotic Venture, 5th. Davide, 6th, also battling to get it booked up, also on about half a tank. Golfy, 7th, also on about half a tank. Jedi, let's go back to Jedi. That Jaguar just seems really heavy on fuel, remember. Satalicious, also quarter tank. Who are we with now? Satalicious, quarter tank. Slung, about a quarter tank. Satalicious, half a tank. So he's been fuel saving. Clever man. So he will be able to have a quicker stop or stop later. Ian, also around half a tank. Could play out more strategies. Dan's up and down. Dan's in there. He's got the slip on here and there. Beautifully done. Really, really, really good driving there. It's so difficult in these conditions. For some reason I can't. Down the order is added to 13th. That is unfortunately 13th. It's also battling with these conditions with this car. Satalicious and Slung having a great guys. Good to see Slung still staying hanging in there. Oh, getting it a bit crossed up. Not really nice. But it's great to have him back with us. Jedi, 8th. Oh, Davide and Golf Nuts also, like I said, coming on. But Mercedes should be pretty good in the rain. What will be interesting is when these boys are going to start to pit now. McFlurry closing the gap on Alex. When are they going to pit? When are they going to pit? It's not that lap. McFlurry did get the fastest lap. Alex on just over quarter. McFlurry on just a quarter. Alex just a bit more fuel, so if they go in the pit at the same time, Alex could potentially come out first depending on when he refuels, so this will be something to watch. McFlurry just hunting him down. Alex battling with this Corvette, and that was the thing with it. It inherently understeers things. It takes so much concentration to use the power to rotate the car. Alex is such an exceptional driver, he's able to do that. But in doing so, I think it is not as quick as something that doesn't require that kind of input. You see him just sliding the thing over here, trying to get the nose turned in, because as you turn it in with the Corvette, it just doesn't want to do what you ask it to. Not sure why that is, probably just a feature of the game. So we're still with Alex. Gap to McFlurry is under 2 seconds. McFlurry chipping away at it. It is now 1.7 seconds. The gap to Death Raccoon 6.5, 6.3, and closing. Death Raccoon is still in this race. These boys have only done 5 laps. Pretty much an absolute eternity. We are 15 minutes into this. And the gap is just closing and closing and closing. And Flurry has just got this thing hooked up now. Alex needs to come into the race. If he wants to stay in this, I think he needs to try and put this thing. It'll be interesting to see when he does put. Not putting it now. Or is he? I don't think he is. So he's going to stay out another lap. Manage the gap. It looks as though he's closing, but then the gap is now 1.4 where we on fuel. So we are running low. So running low. So Sapalicious third now. That means that Death Raccoon is pitted. Death Raccoon is currently in the pits. Putting fuel. So the rule is, remember the rule is, you have to put fuel and tires. Now it wouldn't make sense not to put fuel in this event because the cars are using more fuel than tires. So there's Golfy changing tires. Obviously it's going to be pretty much a full tank for these boys. Coyote Venture also putting fuel. Adders also putting fuel. Dens coming in for his stuff. So let's catch up to the boys in front. What is that gap? 1.8 again. So interesting. Alex has managed to pull it out. Pull out the gap, which is amazing. I just find it amazing that he's able to pedal that thing around. Maybe it's not as dramatic as I'm making it. I just remember when driving that car, it was difficult to keep it in a straight line. To get it to turn in. You had to trail brake the thing so badly. Now McFlurry could be battling with something. Not sure. I've always just made a few mistakes. That gap is open now. 2.1 seconds. Now it'll be interesting to see how it fits now. Sapalish is still third. What's his fuel looking like? Also low. So he's going to have to pit soon. Davide. Also low. He's going to have to pit soon. Ian in 5th. He's going to have to pit soon. Death Raccoon 7th. Very close behind him is Brian Reed, who is, as I've said before, you do not want that man in your mirrors. Brian has pitted. So, Death Raccoon has not pitted. So let's see what these boys did. Alex has come into the pit, so we knew that was going to happen. McFlurry came into the pit. Alex is 5 liters of fuel, McFlurry 3, so they have run it as low as possible. If that number there means liters, then that is what it is, but let's say 5 units. Now the rule specifies that that number has to change by at least 1 unit. In some events where the fuel consumption isn't as high as it is here, that's what you have to do. Throw in a splash, but it must change by at least 1. Otherwise there is a 5-minute penalty which effectively puts you to the back of the grid. Here comes Alex. Let's see these boys in action. Putting fuel, McFlurry. Alright, so Sapalicious McFlurry. So currently our race leader is Davide. Now, has Davide put fuel? He hasn't, so he will have to stop and put fuel. Second is Death Raccoon. He has stopped. So Death Raccoon is currently our leader. McFlurry and Alex are coming out. Whoa, this is interesting. So, Death Raccoon, Alex is first, McFlurry second, effectively Death Raccoon third. Death Raccoon needs to kind of play it smarter. He could stay in McFlurry's slip. Save fuel, I guess that's not his intention. His intention is to win. So he is making the move on McFlurry as we speak. This is the position. That's good racing by Death. Very, very good racing. Oh, and he overdoes it and spins it out. Again, that is about the third mistake. It's so unfortunate. Sorry to see. Oh, it's very, very sorry to see that. Unfortunate, brother. Really unfortunate. So now Brian is third. Now Brian has pitted, but he pitted early, so he is using fuel at a rate of noise. Let's see. Death Raccoon, he has Flurry currently third. Now Alex is second with Davide. Now Davide is not pitted. He's going to have to pit. So effectively your race leader is Alex. Alex getting a bit wild with Davide. I'm not sure why. Most likely because Davide will be lose around his neck very, very shortly. So there we go. Alex, Davide. Sorry. Still good. He's using fuel. Not quite. Oh, a bit wide. Alex is a bit more lean on fuel. So Alex is running it really lean in that vet, and obviously we know that as an LSN, it's Thursday. So yeah, Alex must be running it really lean on his mixture. Davide, he is, I don't know what he's doing, brother, but you need to make it to the pits, otherwise you ain't gonna make this lap. Oof. Yeah, there he goes, into the pits, so we knew that was gonna happen. Right, so where we Brian, fourth. Now Brian's really on half a tank. We're on the 7th lap, so these guys are gonna have to pit another 2 times at least. McFlurry, the gap now 2.8. McFlurry again hunting down Alex, keeping him in his sights. He needs to do that if he wants to stay in this race. But it's such a cat and mouse game because the ideal thing would be to sit in his slipstream and just fuel save all the way to the bank. But to do that you have to first catch the man, which he is currently doing. In doing so, he's going to burn a lot of fuel. But not much else you can do if you want to stay in this game. So Alex is just doing a superb job at managing his fuel. He is not even on 3/4 of the tank because McFlurry is on 3/4 of the tank. Ryan is on under half a tank with a 0.4 penalty. So once again, Alex doing a superb job. McFlurry trying to burn the fuel to catch and making mistakes at the same time. Again, it's so hard. It's so hard to navigate these cars. Now, if we was racing the crowns around here, that would not be fun. McFlurry closing the gap on 1.4 now. That's got a really good down up. As I said before, he needs to try and close the gap and get into his slip. Fuel save a bit more. Also closing the gap on McFlurry. So unfortunate Death Raccoon made a few mistakes, but he could still come back from this. It's a long, long race. He's got such good pace right here. Goldnut also doing well. The gap though to Death Raccoon is massive. And that Mercedes is hungry. It's the old style normally aspirated V8, so it is going to use some fuel. 6.5 2.5 seconds behind Goldsnut. Jedi sitting 70. Also on water tank early. Those Jaguars are just so thirsty, man. Sapalicious 8 at the moment. He must have pitted again, or he is just doing a phenomenal job at fuel saving. Most likely similar to Alex, slung 9th at the moment, but he is going to have to pit again. Another day, 10. He obviously just pitted. Den's 11th, half tank. Ian 12th, 3/4 tank. He must have put quite recently, and adders brings up the rear of half a tank. 14. Now, Alex McFlurry. As we left with about 2 seconds left. What are we doing? Close the gap down the straight. Maybe that Aston is just a bit better in a straight line. Alex just seems to negotiate that ridiculous American muscle so well, man. And you can see how he just manages to balance the power where he is able to rotate the car. Alex is sitting on about in between 3/4 and a half a tank. McFlurry about the same. So McFlurry's done an exceptional job to close that gap or maintain that gap and use this pretty much the same fuel. So if they stop at the same time the next time, it's going to be pretty even Steven as they go into the next half of this race. Coming up on the 9th lap. It's a long way to go. Alex, so you can see Alex trail brakes the car in to get the nose turned in, and then uses the power on the way out to get it to rotate. That takes so much concentration. It's important to note that Alex is also racing on a pad, does not have a sim rig, i.e. a wheel setup, which is phenomenal. I'm not sure how much practice time these boys are putting in. I can assume it is a lot, because this guy is really good. McFlurry, the gap to McFlurry is still 2.2, so Alex seems to pull out a nice gap through the twisties, and then McFlurry kind of just closing the gap. Now McFlurry could be also managing the gap, just kind of managing his fuel, knowing that he's got the legs on the straight. So McFlurry and Alex fuel rates very, very similar. Death Raccoon, Brian into the pits. Death Raccoon, he is not looking good on fuel. So Brian could potentially be in for a good third here. Death Raccoon is just battling with that fuel stoppage. Golf Nut also, how's he looking now? Golf Nut's actually in a better position than Brian on the fuel stops. He could be in for the third. He could be the dark horse for the third place, the podium here. If he manages his fuel the way he has and his pace, puts his head down, he could be on the podium. Having said that, he has Venture behind him, who was 6 seconds. There was a 6-second gap, which is now 2.8 second gap. So he is currently being hunted down by Venture 26. Also not an easy man to keep behind you. But Golf Nut has become a seasoned veteran and just doing an amazing job at this. What is Venture? We'll like to see. But Venture is on quite a low fuel load, and knowing those Jaguars, they are extremely thirsty. So Golf Nut has the upper hand here. Death Raccoon on very low fuel is going to have to stop. So Golf Nut could potentially be in a really good position for a podium here. just has to kind of keep it together, put in those laps, and once again, it is so hard. These guys are not racing on wets, they are racing on racing hard, racing medium tires. So they do not have the grip. Oh, that sounds so amazing. So how are we looking? McFlurry, Alex Wilmot first, still with a 2.2 second gap. His boy still half a lap. Unreal. Death Raccoon, he is running out of fuel. But doing so well. Such a pity he's made those mistakes. He would have been up there, he would have been a contender. Golfnut doing an exceptional job with that Mercedes. Probably in the best position compared to these guys. I really think that Golfnut has a really good chance of finishing on the podium. McFlurry and Alex just have such a large gap. So Death Raccoon into the pits now. Definitely gonna happen. Oh, Alex getting it sideways, trying to get that thing rotated. How far is Golfnut? He's only coming up there. So he's got a massive gap. So it's very unlikely that Golfnut will be able to catch McFlurry and Alex, but if he plays his card right, he will be able to finish on the podium. So yes, he's currently sitting third. How are we looking with Safelicious? He is doing alright, but he is 23 seconds behind. He's getting chased down by Mr. Reed, who, as mentioned, you do not want behind him. This is turning out to be a great race. Lap 11. Just joined us. Thank you for joining us. It's been quite a crazy evening. We're doing a 20-lap endurance race, and Alex gets it sideways. The concentration is just starting to hurt. So, as I mentioned before, it takes so much to keep pedaling that thing. Keep rail braking just enough. The Aston is just a lot more than the Type 2. What is the gap now? 1.3. So McFlurry, they have the same fuel loads. McFlurry just needs to use that huge advantage to try and get in the slip. Maintain the gap. Get in the slip so you can use the power advantage, the speed advantage down the straight. But again, Alex pulls out a bit of a gap there through the twisties. He's just able to maintain that gap. McFlurry doesn't really have an answer for him. So McFlurry needs to try and get in that slip. And then use that to his advantage. It's so easy to say, but these boys are, they're working hard to try and just keep his car in the circuit. Who's in the pits? Dens. I was going to say Ferrari's in the pits. Alright, so Golfnut is getting close on fuel now. Brian, 37 seconds behind Golfnut. He's got a full tank. Ish. Now, close that gap as Golfnut moves into the pits. That is interesting because probably would close the gap. But then there would be the third pit stop which they would have to the undercut on that. I'm not sure if it's the undercut, the overcut, whatever it is, but Golf is going to have to pit now, which means that Brian will potentially overtake him. There we go. Golf goes into the pits now. Is Brian going to catch him? 10-1 Brian. So gap is closing as we speak. There we go. Gap between Alex and Chloe is still 1.6 seconds. Let's actually capture that marks. This could be interesting now, as Brian has now passed Round8 for the day. That gap is open. Will the back markers play a role? How's the field though? These guys are just doing a stellar job on their field. Amazing, amazing. So, will this back marker play a role in this? I don't know. Now, Brian, if I was Brian, I would feel saving my guts out because we've got a long way to go, brother. There's going to be one pit stop. Not sure what you need to do. There's plus 1 minute. Get back in. 10 seconds behind you. Tough. So, how's this back marker going to impact this little guy? Will it wait? I don't know. Alex is such a smooth operator. He might just make that work. I'm going to make it easy for him. So Alex also needs to be careful in these moments. He can't be hasty. He needs to find his way around the back of the gap now. 1.2 kilometers. So this is getting a bit interesting. McFlurry needs to choose, try and get in that slip. Alex just does a really good job. Not that good because James seems to just defend. Well, he didn't really defend, he just kept his cars in the place it needed to be. Gap is now down to 1 second. Den's moved over, I think. No, he's still there in front of Alex. So, making Alex life a bit hard there. Alex gets it a bit loose on the brakes now. This is going to close the gap with McFlurry. McFlurry managed to get past Den's quite easily. Gap is down to 1 second, but Alex got a good exit down to Rouge. Now Alex is probably going to do a big century here. Close the gap. Try and open the gap. Already it's up to 1.4. So McFlurry could just be biding his time here. Would be the sensible thing to do. It's not really that close to utilize the full potential of the fuel saving, i.e. being in his slip. Now these boys are under a quarter tank, exactly the same, nothing in it. Gap up to 1.2, 5.2 seconds now. So McFlurry, Brian must have made a mistake. Down to 4th, yes, he did, he spun. So, unfortunate for Brian there. Brian's not having a great event. Here's Golfy. He's really on. Used quite a bit of fuel. How's Brian there? Less fuel. Safalish. We could be out for a dice here for the podium. Safalish is going to have to refuel. Might have to do 4 stops. Sure. Most likely not. So, gap down to 0.8, 0.7. McFlurry starting to put the pressure. Making a bit more sense now. Coming up to the third quarter of this race. Last third of this event, sorry. I just opened the gap again up to 1.8 seconds. Up in 4th place, managed to stay in 3rd. He's on half a tank. So, I think the real question is going to be who is going to take the podium. We've got Death Raccoon here, he's got half a tank of fuel. Just such control of that car. Brian battling under half a tank of fuel. Safalicious. On a quarter tank. He's not the same. Really, it's between Brian and Death Raccoon. Death Raccoon really has a big gap. Golf Nut, he's got 3/4 tanks. So Alex and McFlurry in same time. The gap was 1.2 as they came in. Interesting. So this will be their last stop. I can't see these guys doing another stop. They are just so good at fuel saving. and the other boys will pass them, but they will have to stop again as well. So now McFlurry actually has more fuel than Alex. So how much are they going to put in, and where are they going to come out on the track? Interesting strategies playing out here. Let's see. Alex stops the fuel, tires. McFlurry stops the fuel and tires. Right, who's coming out first? I think whoever comes out first, or if they come out as close to each other as they went in, it's going to be a dice. Pretty much out at the same time. The gap is close. Yeah, very close. 0.9. 0.9. That is played it very, very well. So how much they put a full tank in. And let's also put a full tank in. I don't think Death Raccoon has enough to make it all the way. 6 laps to go. McFlurry is really going to have to work hard. If he can stay within this gap, he's within the slip, he still has a really, really good chance. Alex is just so good now. McFlurry can pile on the pressure, try to force Alex into a mistake which will allow him to close the gap, potentially take the lead in this race. But again, Alex is such a smooth operator. Does Death Raccoon have enough fuel to finish this race? I really don't think so. I really don't think so. Unless he starts fuel saving. He has the time. He's got 16 seconds to Brian. Brian does not have enough fuel. I just don't see it happening. He's got Golfnut bearing down his throat. Golfnut has enough fuel to potentially finish this race. Oh, it's going to be a fight to see who finishes on the podium. Again, Golfnut, Star Horse could finish this race on the podium. It's an epic battle is developing here. Half a gap between them. Nothing in it. Golfnut he's come such a long way in his esports career. He comes from a mining environment in South Africa. Brian, coming from the motor industry, also in South Africa, getting it squirmy on the brakes. The gap is down to 0. And Golfy, also seasoned campaigner, been learning a lot. He listens, he asks questions, he asks all the right questions, he takes the advice in. He's like a sponge. Now he's just piling on the pressure to Brian. Brian is normally the one doing the exact same thing, so now the tables are turned. Can Brian absorb it? What can Golfy do now that Lexus is good? Mercedes not as good, but the rain is a big leveler at the moment. So I think the big thing here is going to be the fuel. Brian will have to stop for fuel, whereas Golfnut won't. But Golfnut is careful. He will be able to make it to the end of the race. Fuel saves. He will have to be very, very, very clever. Pick his strategy and not fight too much, but he won't know how much fuel Brian has, and Brian goes into the pits. So there we go. Golfnut has Golfnut. Oh, he gets it loose, but he keeps it together. Well done. Now he needs to fuel save. Minus 10 on that puppy, and he will be able to take the podium. Definitely 25 seconds. Oh, and McFlurry is taking it. Taking the lead from Alex. Alex must have forced Alex into a mistake. McFlurry so good at that. He's played his cards so well in this race. Oh, Alex just jumping it over the flexible sausage there. And yeah, McFlurry's just done such a great job. He's done everything right. He kept it very clean, very consistent. Managed to hunt Alex down, pile on the pressure. Alex battling with a really difficult car. Done an amazing job. Oh, they're coming up behind Ad as the back marker. It needs to just find his way safely around the back markers. And the gap is up to 2.2 now. I think it's going to be difficult for Alex to close the gap. He can do it. Exceptionally seasoned campaigner. But McFlurry seems to be just pulling that gap. Really amazing drive. So we've got McFlurry first. 5 laps to go. Alex second. Death must stop. He's running out of fuel. Who's going to take the podium? Golf Nut could potentially finish on the podium if he fuel saves. He needs to play his cards close to his chest here. Do the sensible thing. Venture also is going to have to stop for fuel. Ryan did stop for fuel, but will only make it if Golf Nut stops for fuel, which I don't think he will. Golf Nut will have to use his tactics here to really fuel save all the way. He can do this. Sapalicious got a full tank of jam. Will be able to make it to the end of the race. 7 Jedi Jono 8 also gonna have to stop for fuel. EMB in 9 also gonna have to stop for fuel. Unless he's fuel saving minus 2500. Davide in 10 full tank. Ben's in 11 gonna also have to stop for fuel. Slung just that with half a tank will be able to make it. Adders in 13 might make it if he fuel saves. So he could potentially pick up a few places here. Fuel saves all the way. Still McFlurry sending it through our Rouge there. Alex has closed the gaps. Alex is also exceptionally good at this, just hunting his competitors down. Now the roles will be reversed here because McFlurry will have to soak up the pressure. Getting that squarely on the brakes, fuel saving will not be an issue right now because we'll be banging in the laps. Maximum attack here. So, Death Raccoon's gone in. Golf Nut, how are we looking on fuel? Running it lean, brother. I'm not sure if he's going to make it. It'll be a pity to see Golf Nut not make it. But he needs to try and fuel save as much as possible. Run at maximum lean. He's got time on his hands between Death Raccoon. And then get off the power early. Short shift. Do everything you can to maximum save the fuel. I just don't know. It's going to be tough. Death Raccoon's behind him, so Death Raccoon, if Golf Nut goes into the pits, Death Raccoon will potentially pass him. I don't think there's enough time. Unless Golf Nut goes in for a splash and dash, doesn't do tires, just does a splash of fuel. Can do that. Because I believe he's done his 2 pit stops, so he can do that. Yeah, he's going to have to. There's just no way Golf Nut will make it. So, gap there. Still 3 seconds. So, Golf Nut running it wide here. Yeah, he's going to have to stop, man. He's going to have to stop. So, the gap is now 29 seconds to get there. So, he's going to have to splash and dash and hope he has enough time to get ahead of Death Raccoon, because Death Raccoon is an extremely smooth operator and he will be able to put in the lap times to catch Golfy. Look at the lap times. Death Raccoon's quickest 24/7 is going to be the quickest lap of the race. Golf Nut's quickest Death Raccoon 2 minute 47.7. Golf Nut 2 minute 50. So that Mercedes just doesn't really have the pace. Although, having said that, that is an exceptional lap time because the Corvette is only done at 51.8. So. Anyhow, let's see what Golf Nut does. He's going to have to... Has he run up? No, he's going into the pit. So yes, he's... let's see what he does here. He's going to have to splash and dash. No tires. The gap, 27 seconds and counting to Death Raccoon. Now, how much is he going to have? Is he going to put in? It's going to have to be enough to take him to the end. Oh, this is going to be a fight to see who really finishes. What's the gap? 3 seconds. So McFlurry just doing really well. Okay, Death Raccoon has already taken third, so it wasn't enough, unfortunately. The time just too much. So Death Raccoon will most likely take third in this race. He's doing just such a great job keeping that final control. So very, very unlucky for Golfnut to lose the podium. I'm not sure how much he's going to put in. You will know. You would have been watching his fuel counter. Oh, Golfnut's really down to 6, so unlucky. Really unlucky. Put in a fuel tank, but I don't think that was necessary, because that has lost you quite a few places, Mr. Golfnut. Although you are 4th. Apologies. You are 4th. So, you still have 4th place. Now, Death Raccoon is 3rd. He has enough fuel to get into the end. Alex looks like he's battling. He's going to settle for 2nd in this race. Probably just through fatigue. Trying to negotiate that that American muscle through this circuit. McFlurry has just done everything right. He's kept Alex under pressure when he needed to, wore him out, fuel saved as much as he could, just did everything right. McFlurry, if he doesn't make any mistakes, he will be able to win this race quite easily. Alex seems to have pretty much the same thing as McFlurry. They're not going to have to stop him. I really don't think they'll be able to take that to stop him. Death Raccoon 3rd. So, McFlurry coming up to some back markers here. Will the guys let him through? I think Ian will. Jedi looks like he went. Jedi and Ian went a bit quiet. Ian is battling a bit there. I'm not sure what's going on. But McFlurry makes life easy for him. So I don't think that it's not going to be an issue at all. Death Raccoon gap is under a minute now to Alex Walmart. Brian, the gap is 37 seconds to Death Raccoon. Can Brian catch Death Raccoon? Maybe. Unlikely though, 37 seconds, unless Death Raccoon does one of his magnificent spins. I doubt it though, although, having said that, but he seems to have this car under such exceptional control. He has done for most of the race. So, Alex 2nd, Death Raccoon 3rd, Brian 4th, Sacrificious 5th, Golfnut 6th, unlucky for Golfnut. Venture 7th, unlucky spin there, might lose the position to Davide. Davide manages to get past Venture safely. This might turn into quite a nice little goal. Jedi 8. Ian 10. That was 9. Apologies. Dens 11. Slung 12. Adders 13. McFlurry just doing everything right. This man is pretty much been able to play these cards really, really well by putting Alex under pressure at the right times and effectively wearing him out and then making his move when it counted and took charge of the race. And now he's opened up a very, very comfortable gap on Alex. Alex battling, sending it over the flexible sausage once again. Seems to ride that sausage quite well. No pun intended. Death Raccoon pretty much on his own out there. He just needs to not spin, and I think he'll be alright. Even if he does, he has a lot of time. So it looks like Death Raccoon will be able to bring this puppy home on the podium. Then we've got Brian in 4th. Brian's had a a difficult evening. He hasn't had the best of evenings, but to finish fourth in this race, I think is very respectable considering he's had a bit of a tough evening. Safalicious, is he closing the gap on Brian? I'm not sure. He has Golfy behind him. This could turn into quite an interesting race. Golfy just sliding that thing around. So good. That car. So Safalicious, the gap to Brian is 2.4 seconds. Brian's just going to manage this one. Death Raccoon coming up to a back marker now. Slung should be quite respectful. He generally is very respectful. It's a good respectful driver. He almost won that second race in the front wheel drives. Unfortunately, he didn't. But the man has also not driven a race for a very, very long time. And SSBB is very competitive too. So he's done exceptionally well for him. Alex is still negotiating this absolute beast around the circuit. These boys are on the second last lap. McFlurry, not much more to say. Absolute killer ride. I think we should give Mr. Stroll a call. McFlurry, what do you think? Maybe Aston can line you up as a backup driver for Vettel. But yeah, that was an exceptional drive. Just did everything right. And also, can't say enough good things about him. He's done such a long way. Yes, been involved in incidents with a lot of drivers that this season. Those crowns are exceptionally difficult cars to drive, and there has been a lot of incidents, but there's been a lot of action. Just running around. Venture coming up to someone. So this is cooking up, hotting up to quite a nice little dice here. Venture and Davide. Now the gap is 0.6. Davide also good competitor. It's a great car. That Mustang. So Venture managing to get the slip, gets the pass done very, very cleanly. Very, very nice job, Venture. Oh, but Davide fighting back just a little. Venture under pressure there, but Venture's a seasoned campaigner. He knows exactly what to do, and that won't get the job done. So Venture manages to take 7th place from Davide. So back to Golfy. Golfy and Safalicious. Golfy managed to pass Safalicious and starts hunting down Brian. This is turning out to be a great little exchange. Now, can Golfy, let's just put because we have not a lot of time left. The boys are coming to their last lap. Golf Nut has 1.2 seconds to Brian. We might just close the gap. Take that 4th place from Brian, which Brian will not appreciate. Death Raccoon pretty much on their own, on his own. So, going into the last lap, Alex, 2nd place. McFlurry just controlling this race, doing absolutely nothing wrong. A superb drive from McFlurry. Alex Mormont, also superb drive. Really had to navigate that beast home. Not easy. Death Raccoon recovered extremely well. He spun about 4 times in this race. I reckon he would have been up there to win it. Now, here we have a fight on our hands. the old dog versus the new. Teacher versus student. This is going to be an interesting tussle. Brian will not give this place up. Extremely seasoned campaigner. Surprisingly, he doesn't go defensive. Golf nut not able to get it stopped. Probably, Golfy putting his car in exactly the right place. Goes around the outside of Brian. Might be better line in the wedge. Does he have? No, he doesn't have the inside. Brian's got the inside for the next corner. So, side by side racing through there. Really, really giving each other a lot of space. Huge respect for each other there. Great racing here. Amazing racing. So, Golfy putting Brian under huge pressure. Brian just soaking it up. Slow down. Bit of a penalty. 0.4 for Brian. 0.5 for Golf Nut. What's going to happen here? McFlurry's won it. Well done, McFlurry. Alex second. Excellent job. Apologies we didn't get that. I'm just watching this race. And those are the results. Oh, unfortunately, it cut off too early there. Oh, unlucky. Alright, well, exceptional racing there. Exceptional racing. So we've got a bit too fine-tuned there. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. That was amazing racing. The guys have done so well. That was really, really turning out to be a spectacular finale. So Brian Reed taking fourth place in the end there. Golf Nut fifth. McFlurry winning it. First place. Exceptional drive. Absolutely stellar drive from McFlurry. Alex taking second there. Death Raccoon third. Exceptional finish for him considering he really battled a lot there. Brian fourth. Good result. Golf Nut fifth. Also really, really close. Exceptional racing from those two in the end. Safalicious sixth. Chaotic Venture 7th, Davide 8th, Ian 9th, Jedi 10th, Denz 11th, Slung 12th, Addis 13th, and Sai 14th. That's it from us. Thank you everybody so much for joining us. It was spectacular. We will be here next week for the last race of this season, and then there will be a bit of a break. We'll give you all the details at that event, but thank you so much everybody for watching. It has been an absolutely amazing event. We'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.